You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Get ready. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guy. And we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk. I'm your favorite sports family. I'm Big Q, and on the line we got DC chiming in. What's going on, DC?
Oh, it's everything, man. Still coming down off of this, what you want to call it. We can't call it a miracle. I don't know what we're going to call this victory.
We call it reversing a game. That's what we call it. We call it revenge. That's what it's called. On podcast.
This is not a revenge game. This is a regular game.
I don't care who they talking about. This is revenge.
This is just another week.
We went back up to that building and we kicked their butts, and best believe this is going to matter when the playoffs come around. Trust and believe. It's podcast 259 on the Sports Coma. We recapping a Saints 30-20 win over the Minnesota Vikings in a big revenge game. The hell with the rest of them talking about it's not a revenge game. You go up there and play this team that knock you out of playoffs in the building in which they knock you out of playoffs, running on the same spot when they come out of the tunnel where they caught the touchdown on you. You don't think that's some revenge crap? You don't believe it?
He just wanted to be politically correct, man.
We're not politically correct here. We're gonna speak our minds, and I encourage everybody else to do so as well. So welcome today. Podcast 259, recapping the Saints 30-20 revenge game over the Minnesota Vikings in the Minnesota Vikings Stadium. Big time win for the New Orleans Saints. I'm very proud of my team. And it was a tough environment to go up there and play. The Vikings put 423 total yards up on the Saints, but the Saints marched away with the victory. Now, they got a late garbage score later in the game, but I really, to kind of try to make it modest. But anyway, we're going to recap this game, and let's hit you with some of the topics today on podcast 259. Welcome both new and established listeners to the Sports Coma. Welcome aboard as we talk about our team, the New Orleans Saints, and what they're doing this season. We're going to have Coach Payton. He's going to chime in on the Saints win. He's going to give you his thoughts about the game today. We'll break down the Saints' solid defensive play, talk about the Saints' defense in this one. We'll also have some news and notes that you might have not been aware of before the game started off. We'll do our customary and traditional thumbs up and thumbs down segment in which we give thumbs up, thumbs down to the best players of the game for the Saints. And of course, we'll have the Sports Coma question of the day that will chime in momentarily. And then we'll read the replies from the previous question also on this 30-minute podcast. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Starting off with the statistics in this one. Saints 30-20 over the Vikings in US Bank Stadium. Capacity crowd about 66,800 people in the building on Friday, Sunday night to watch this one. Prime time event. The Saints put the NFL on notice, if they haven't been on notice, that they have arrived. Every game is a tough battle. It's like playoffs every week for the Saints, culminating hit after hit after hit. LSU has the toughest schedule in the SEC. You take a look at the Saints schedule. Some would argue with you and say the Saints have one of the most difficult schedules in the NFL. Next week, they got the Rams, the only other undefeated team left in the Dome. Hit after hit after hit. We knock them down every which way. But in this one, Saints get the 27. They lose the first down battle, 27-17 to the Vikings. Third down efficiency, Saints 4 of 9, Vikings 5 of 10. Total plays, Saints had 53 plays versus the Vikings 67. Total yards, the Vikings had 423 yards in this one versus the Saints 270 yards. Saints had a total of 8 drives versus 10 by the Vikings. They averaged 5 yards a game versus the Vikings 6.3. And then, of course, when it gets to the passing, the Saints only had 164 yards passing versus the Vikings 338 yards. Saints had 106 rushing, 85 for the Vikings. And of course, in the red zone, the Saints were 2 of 3 versus the Vikings 3 of 4. Penalties, Saints had 7 penalties for 64 yards in this one, 6 penalties for 54 for the Vikings. And, of course, one turnover. Saints had one turnover in the game, which is an interception. Drew Brees was hurried on the throw, was ultimately picked off by Harrison Smith. And then, of course, two turnovers by the Saints. One was a fumble that was recovered by Lattimore and an interception that was returned for a touchdown by P.J. Williams. So that was the lone defensive score of the game. Time of possession, the Saints had the ball 28 minutes, 37 seconds versus the Vikings 31 minutes and 23 seconds in this one. DC, before I get into the individual statistics, what in particular in this game caught your eye about the Saints and how they won this one?
They went out there, and from the moment the game started, man, you can tell they just refused to lose. And you can see it once you get to the statistics. They're not typical Saints statistics. They found a way to win. We had some issues in coverage. I mean, then you're playing two of the best receivers, so they're going to do their thing. And with all of that going on, with this supposedly monstrous defense and this wonderful offense, the Saints went in there and they willed themselves to a win. There isn't a lot that's really impressive statistic-wise, but we come out with the W, man, and I ain't never heard of such a thing as an ugly win, so here we go.
Yeah, very true and well said, DC, because that's what the Saints, it wasn't an ugly win. I enjoyed it, to be honest with you. The Saints defense really is showing you that they've done more than turn a corner. I'm really, really happy to see the progress the defense made as the offense kind of stammered a bit, but the defense really stepped up when it needed to be because we really needed them to have an impressive showing. All week long, they talked about the Saints offense against the Vikings defense, but never did they capitulate or put in their minds the fact that the Saints defense will have a stronger outing than the Minnesota Vikings defense. So the Saints defense is slowly but surely gaining respect in this league. Very, very positive. But let's go to Sean Payton, Coach Payton, as he talks about his thoughts after the game. Here's Coach Payton.
It was a good win, obviously, against a good team we got a lot of respect for. Always when you come to an environment like this in a primetime game, it's a tough matchup, but this place is one of the harder places in our league, I think, to play. I thought early on, that momentum quickly jumped in our favor, and they were able to capture it back by going up 14-7. And obviously, the turnover in the second quarter was a big turning point in the game. You call it a 10-point swing, you can call it a 14-point swing based on where they were on the field. That was a big play for us, the fumble recovery, and that led to points. So pleased with the win. I'm sure we'll have a lot of things we have to correct. Any questions? Man, all of it. We got some turnovers, takeaways. I think we finished +1. We had some significant pressures, a handful of times that really helped. I thought our guys did a good job with the plan. I thought I was pleased with a lot of the things we were able to do to win, especially in the second half. I felt like we possessed the ball when we needed to. It was a good team win. Yeah, look, there were a few trap coverages we had up, a few double coverages we had up. Those guys are tough. The receivers are tough, and Kirk does a good job finding them. But we were able to come up with the stops we needed. I thought the 1 third down stop right before the turn of the quarter was a big one. And then fortunately, we were able to score a touchdown. I was a little concerned. We settled for a field goal with the 1 turnover offensively, but we did enough to win.
Those are thoughts by the coach. Let's finish up on some of these statistics in the game. Very interesting game indeed. Drew Brees in this one, 18 of 23 for 120 yards. Man, that's the first time since the 2006 season that the Saints actually won a game with Drew Brees threw for that little amount of yards. Yeah, 1 touchdown, and of course, an interception. He wasn't sacked in the game. Taysom Hill had 1 throw for 44 yards to open the game up. Very interesting. Mark Ingram finished the game as the top back, rushing 13 carries for 63 yards, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. Alvin Kamara, 13 carries for 45 yards in this one with 1 touchdown. Taysom Hill scrambled a few times for -2, though. 29 carries altogether for both the the Saints running backs for 106 yards and 1 touchdown, averaging just under 4 yards a rush. From the receiving game, Michael Thomas targeted 6 times, caught 5 of them for 81 yards, averaging about 16 yards a catch. Alvin Kamara had 7 catches in the game for 31 yards in the score. Ingram had 3 for 29. Traquan Smith had 3 catches for 18 yards. He was targeted 4 times. Taysom Hill caught 1 ball for 5 yards. And Austin Carr was thrown at, but that was a terrible throw that Drew Brees had thrown to him. On the other side of the ball, looking at what Kirk Cousins was able to do, 31 to 41 for 351, 2 times, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times by the Saints defense. They got on top. The Saints held the running game for the Vikings. Like I said, 22 carries for 85 yards. Latavius Murray, 13 carries, 56 yards, 1 score. They really stifled him. Stephon Diggs got going big in this one, 10 catches, 119 for 1 score in the game. Adam Thielen, the Saints really kind of, I guess you could say, stopped him from what he was doing. He had 7 catches for 103 yards, 1 touchdown in the game, but this big man is awesome. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, they're two terrific players. Kyle Rudolph had 4 catches for 39 yards in the game. Laquan Treadwell, the former first-round draft pick, had 3 catches for 25 yards as the Saints stifled them big time. Going to the defensive side for the New Orleans Saints, Eli Apple was the top tackler. His first game as a Saint, he had 9 total tackles, and they were all solo. So big ups to Eli Big Apple as he doing big things in the Big Easy. A.J. Klein was behind him with 7 tackles. Demario Davis had 6. P.J. Williams had 6 tackles in the game, 1 pass defense, and a touchdown off interception. Von Bell, 6 tackles on the afternoon. Marcus Williams had 5 tackles as he returns to the scene of the crime. Alex Anzalone, 5 tackles on the night. Sheldon Rankins was massive in this game, and I'm not just talking about his physique. I'm talking about his game and his play. He had 3 tackles and 2 sacks in this game with 3 QB hits. Big day for him. Cam Jordan, 3 tackles in the game for him. Cam almost got there a handful of times. He had a couple QB hits in this one in the game. So
a lot of batted passes, though.
He did have batted passes. He had a couple of, according to this, 1, but I want to say 2 batted passes, so the stat line might be wrong. Lattimore had 3 tackles in the game. He had a fumble recovery that was huge. And then, of course, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Davenport had 2 tackles and 2 sacks, 2 QB hits, 2 tackles for loss. His number was 2 today as he done some really big things for the Saints in this game. Now, of course, Coach Payton is downplaying the fact that, that was a port in the game. But let me tell you something. When you're sitting in the room leading up to the game and you're practicing and the team put you out the playoffs like they did the Saints last year, when the Saints knew that was a year they ultimately would have been in the Super Bowl and could have won the Super Bowl, that's whiteboard material, man. They're putting on that board and they're saying this team beat us last year. We could return the favor. Now, the Vikings were missing a handful of some of their really good players. Devin Cook wasn't there. Xavier Rhodes wasn't there. They had a lot of rookies lined up there. But the Saints did whatever they had to do to win this game. They ran the ball and they stopped them from running the ball. They basically made them one-dimensional. Even though the fact that they threw for 300 yards, the Saints still did an excellent job against that Minnesota offense, which is pretty decent.
I don't think it would have mattered if any of those guys that were hurt were there. Xavier Rhodes, Dalvin Cook, or anybody, man, the way the Saints came out, the intensity that they played with, and the passion, I think they was going to win that game no matter what, even if it went down to the last play.
You might have a point on that. We're about to go to our first break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to finish talking about this game. We're going to recap. We're going to do our thumbs up, thumbs down segment. We'll give you some of the little Saints news leading up to this game. We also have the Sports Coma question of the day we're going to hit you with right now. And that is, after this win, this 30-20 win in their building, returning the favor, are the Saints the best team in the NFC? Now, of course, this could be answered if you don't know this upcoming week as they face off in the Dome against the best team record-wise in the NFC in the Los Angeles Rams. So, but before that, let's see if you got your Nostradamus hat on. Are the Saints, are they the best team in the NFC? Chime in on the question of the day. We also have the replies of the question of the day. We also have an interview from Drew Brees on the other side of the break. You don't want to miss that. So stay with us. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the Guy.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
What's up, sports world? It's Big Q talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Box, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Postgame Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that?
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, recapping the Saints' 30-20 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Big victory indeed. Saints take down the Vikings. They go to 6-1. That's right, 6-1. And you know what's more impressive than a 6-1 record? A 4-0 road record. That is what your New Orleans Saints are posting. They are undefeated on the road, knocking the Vikings down to 4-3-1, getting a little revenge against this Viking team this year from last year. Of course, this side of the show, we're going to get our thumbs up and thumbs down segment into effect. I'm going to give you a little Saints news and notes before we kick that off. And also, we got the Sports Coma question of the day. I'll repeat it for you again. Are the Saints the best team in the NFC? Just period. Are they the best? You tell us what you think. Of course, we'll read the replies on the next show. And of course, we're going to read the replies from the previous show when we asked you about Eli Apple. Is he the answer? We had a lot of good replies. We're going to read them. Also, we got Drew Brees on this side giving you his thoughts on the game. So without further ado, let me hit you with some of these Saints news and notes, then we'll just kind of peruse right to Drew Brees and get what he thought about the game. Now, of course, a lot of people out there, you know, we got a commenter that was talking about we were unfairly targeting Ken Crawley, you know, so it's very interesting. I just wanted to share something with people out there about how the fact that once the Saints acquired Eli Apple from the Giants, they did something very unexpected. You know what they did? Let me tell you what they did. After
Did they bench Ken Crawley?
Not only did they bench Ken Crawley, they inactivated him.
Whoa!
So not only did he, and then the cold part about it is through his struggles, I was always saying that Ken Crawley was playing better than P.J. Williams. But Ken Crawley was inactive for this game. There's nothing wrong with him. Now, he was replaced in the starting lineup by Eli Apple. We knew that was going to happen, but I was really surprised to hear that they deactivated him for this game against the Vikings. And that's really interesting. Also, Jermaine Bushrod was inactive for this game, understandably. Will Clapp, Chaz Green, a new lineman, and, of course, defensive lineman Mitch Lowen and Trey Hendrickson, and safety J.T. Gray. Now, Mitch Lowen has been battling injuries. Hopefully, we can get him ready to go later on in the year, but that's just a little backdrop I want to give. It's not the fact that, like we talked about, and a commenter gave me some credit on it. He said, Q, I believe you now. I believe you now. My eyes open on Ken Crawley. I've been trying to get people there. I'm so proud that they're hearing me now. But anyway, let's listen to what Drew Brees had to say about this game against the Minnesota Vikings. Here's Drew.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about the team. Obviously, we come into every game with a ton of confidence. I think we feel really confident going on the road. We feel like we're battle-tested. Feel like we've won in a lot of different ways, been in a lot of different types of games already in just the first part of this season. Obviously, this one had a little extra special meaning. Just being able to come in and get a win here against a great opponent, in a very, very tough venue. And just knowing that these guys are I think they're always going to be in the hunt, talking about the Vikings. And that's just, based upon the games that we've played against these guys in the past, got a ton of respect for them, a ton of respect for their players and their leadership. And knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. Obviously, the difference was, getting some of those turnovers. Those were big. And then obviously, felt like offensively we were just, we were efficient. We were efficient. There weren't a ton of big plays, but it was just a lot of, grinded out type football. Time of possession, running the ball well, getting completions, and putting ourselves in positions to score. Well, you're ready to take advantage of whatever opportunities the opposing team will give you. And, we come in always with a pretty elaborate game plan, and then based upon what we're seeing and what's effective, we typically narrow that down and find our bread and butter. And felt like, today we were obviously able to really control the ball, on the ground. Felt like the passing game was really a complement to that, just getting a first down every now and then, getting completions, just positive plays, putting us into third manageable situations so that we could sustain drives, so that we could stay on the field, keep their explosive offense off the field and score points. Yeah, I think we probably had more. Obviously the way, you're always playing the situation too, so the way that game was unfolding there at the end, we had enough of a lead, and you're looking at the clock as well, and focused on obviously getting first downs, but sustaining the drives, milking the clock, and understanding that you've got a pretty good lead that you're trying to protect. It's not a conservative approach. It's just it's a smart football approach.
Drew, you've got a long time without an interception this season. What happened on that play?
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. Just get the ball down a little bit. Had a little bit of pressure, but should just get the ball down and we're fine.
That's Drew Brees chiming in, everybody, on his thoughts on the game. Very interesting for Drew Brees. Let's move forward now to our thumbs up, thumbs down segment of the show. Looking at some of the players that played in this game, of course, the Saints kind of stumbled out the gate a little bit, getting going, but ultimately the defense really kicked into effect. The offense started to spin and things moved forward as they were able to get this win. It was a team performance. The special teams were awesome. Once again, Will Lutz kicking those field goals. And, of course, the Saints were able to pin guys, the opposing offense, deep in their own territory. Morstead and Will Lutz, two of the most solid players, special teams that we have. The defense showed up. Marcus Davenport exploded out the gate. Now let's get our thumbs up and thumbs down section. DC, are you still with us?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm here.
Let's go to our thumbs up, thumbs down section. Give me your thumbs up and thumbs down guy of the show.
My thumbs up guy is going to be Alvin Kamara. I thought it was very impressive how he was able to score in the red zone against such a tough defense when a lot of people haven't been able to do that. And my thumbs down is going to be for anybody who thought the Saints wasn't going to win this game. That's going to be my thumbs down.
All right, very interesting. That's a new one. Thumbs up. It's a good way to not give out a thumbs down to a Saint member. Very interesting. My thumbs up, of course, I'm gonna have to give my thumbs up. I'll give it to. It's kind of hard to pick one guy, but I'm gonna give it to Marcus Davenport. How about that? Marcus Davenport had 2 sacks in this game. He turned it up. And really, if I could give it to 2 guys, it would be him and Sheldon Rankins. I like what both of those guys did. They were, especially Sheldon Rankins, was absolutely awesome on the inside. He was dominant. But I'm going to give it to Marcus Davenport because he almost had a sack strip in the game. They called it down, but he was spectacular in the time that he had in the game. And my thumbs down of the game, kind of tough to give a thumbs down in the game. Because so many of the players played very well. I don't know if I can give a thumbs down. If I did give a thumbs down, this is a difficult one because it would have been easy to pick. Obviously, you guys, I know where you're going with it, Q. You're going to say P.J. Williams. It would have been P.J. Williams. And me and DC talked about it.
Broke even, man.
But me and DC talked about this game, talked about this, the fact that he was getting burned all over the place. Wherever P.J. Williams was at, Kirk Cousins was throwing the ball. P.J. Williams gave up a touchdown against Adam Thielen. He got beat by a mile. He was pass interference and guys, all kind of stuff. P.J. looked at like crap out there early before he started to get his game together. He forced a fumble, like DC said. Also, he got an interception, which he returned for a touchdown. So whatever crap that he did early in the game when he looked like absolute shit, he actually kind of leveled out and he broke even. So I can't really criticize him. So I don't have as crazy as this is, I don't have a thumbs down for this one. I can't pick a thumbs down to this one. But if I do,
you can't pick a referee or something.
No, the referees are actually quite lenient in this one toward the Saints. This was a well officiated game, to be honest with you. Very, very well officiated game. I have absolutely no qualms with the referee, but I this is a good thing that I can't pick a thumbs down player. So I'm gonna just advocate it and said, you know what, no thumbs down player of the show. So hey, that's
you know what, you tried to do this 2 weeks in a row. And I shot you down last time. I'm actually let you go this time. Bro. I'm gonna let you go,
dude.
Only because it's a revenge game for Minnesota. This is special,
dude. I'm just saying that's a good thing. This is a good thing that you can't give all the thumbs down. Okay, that means we're improving. But if there was a candidate, it would have been P.J. Williams quite easily before he started turning this game around. So there you go. No thumbs down.
No doubt. No
people,
doubt.
Okay. So there we go. Okay, now let's move on to the next segment of the show where we read the Sports Coma question, the previous question of the day from the Sports Coma, which was defensive back Eli Apple the answer at the other cornerback position. That was the question. And of course, this one we had a couple of commenters, Pamela Dixon chimed in and said, "We love those Ohio players. Who that?" Thank you, Pamela, for chiming in. Thank you for that comment. We most certainly do. We got a bevy of those guys, the young ones, and we got a few old ones on this team too. So Saints definitely in love with those Ohio State guys. And why not? Look what the secondary is starting to shape into. Eli Apple's first game with the Saints, he looked terrific. He was even smart enough to tackle wide receiver Stephon Diggs when he was about to break free for a touchdown. Guess what the smart guy did when he was beat? He tackled him and got a pass interference. I'd rather you get that than give up a touchdown. If it was the other guy, he would have still passed interference. I mean, he still wouldn't have done it well enough to stop him for him to go and get the touchdown. So it's smart players make smart plays. And besides, Eli Apple had 9 solo tackles in this game. His first game in a heated game like this one, he showed up big. I'm really happy the Saints made that move.
And when I think about it, he had 9 solo tackles. So that tells you they were targeting him. And he didn't give up any touchdowns. He had some catches surrendered on him, of course. He basically played smart. I was very impressed with Eli Apple based on him only being here for maybe 5 days before this game. And he went out there and produced, man. Anybody who's saying anything bad about Eli Apple because he gave up a few catches or whatever, they must be expecting him to be a shutdown corner. So I think for somebody to have as a number 2, that you can't just abuse and pick on, looking like he's going to be the perfect man for the job for me answering the question. For myself.
Size, speed, and smarts, the guy has them. So the 3 S's, size, speed, and smarts, he has them. Both our cornerbacks do. Notice I said both cornerbacks too. not much else. Dada Saints.
That's because we're running a 3 safety set.
Dada Saints #1 says, yes, Eli is. I can see Eli and Marshawn feeding off each other. Thank you, Dada Saints fan #1. Sean C. chimes in. What's up, Sean? He says, Eli Apple is a better option than what we have. He's a first-round talent. No one argues that. I feel he actually do things that we need to succeed. He will, let's see, he got a lot. He will provide better coverage. He will turn his head around and play the ball. Thank you very much. Because guess what? Before P.J. Williams started doing what he did, P.J. Williams didn't turn his goddamn head around at one play. He was always in the trail position until actually he had those turnovers. So, I mean, you know, smart players do smart things. Dumb players do the opposite. I'm not calling the man dumb, but I'm saying your play tells you how intelligent you are. If you know what you're looking at, then you will put yourself in positions to make plays. And some guys do it because they're smart. They know what it's supposed to be. And some guys out there, they're not incredibly fast, but they know where to be to make plays because they're smart. They study the playbook. Anyway, let's keep reading his comments. He says, if you also look, he tries to strip the ball away, too. For our team to win it all this year, we need to show teams you can't just bomb on our heads at will. Eli Apple is the answer at the moment to fix that. I feel he will also cause quarterbacks to hold that ball a little longer so our linebackers can do their jobs. Great value pick. Big ups, Sean C. Great commentary, man. Appreciate you chiming in and speaking that real truth here, breaking it down for the people. So Crass 4 chimes in as well, and Crass says, good move by the Saints front office. They saw a major weakness on the back end and addressed it. Sports Coma, can you please analyze Dennis Allen on your next segment? I've watched the Ravens. I'm kind of shocked that he's blitzing a lot less. Only 3, he rushing 3 men, having defensive tackles dropping back into coverage. It only took Flacco 58 seconds to go 80 yards on the final drive. We now have 5 first-rounders on the defense, plus Allen got his guys via free agency. No excuses. We need to see improvement every week from this unit. I still think at some point his prevent defense will cost us a game. I like Eli Apple. He has a first-round pedigree, young, still on a rookie contract. I also slapped that like button. Have a good day, fellas. Thank you. Thank you very much, Crass 4. Good to hear from you again, buddy. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I like Crass 4, man.
Crass 4, he asked about Dennis Allen. Comment on that, DC.
Well, he's basically saying what I've been saying, because a lot of times we would bash Ken Crawley, and I know like our other man said Ken Crawley ain't all of the problem, but we actually would say that on this show, and we would talk about Dennis Allen. To me, I seen some of that tonight, some errors. I don't know if it's the players, but I still put it on coaching if we're into week 8 and they still don't have that figured out. Sometimes we have the wrong guys matched up on the wrong guys. You know, even when we're not in coverage, when we're in man, why was Ken Crawley on Brown? Why? He should never be, unless it's, you know, accidental or something you couldn't make the switch in time. You know what I'm saying? But stuff like that, and you would understand why Dennis Allen wouldn't blitz if you have no faith in your cornerback being back there one-on-one, because when you're blitzing, you got to take a man out of coverage a lot of times to have an effective blitz, especially if you're talking about sending 6 guys. So you're going to have people one-on-one. So if you don't feel comfortable in one-on-one coverage or putting your cornerbacks on the island for a little while, you're not going to do a whole hell of a lot of blitzing. You're just not. Because these plays we cry about, them giving up chunk plays and this and that, it turns into a 70, 80-yard touchdown like that if you don't get to the quarterback. So I can understand why he didn't blitz. And the Ravens had a very good offensive line. I think that line is underrated, and a lot of people don't realize that Joe Flacco don't get sacked a whole lot. You know, he's not the best quarterback, but they do have a decent line. So I would attribute that to why Dennis Allen doesn't blitz. So with Eli Apple moving forward, the more confidence he feels in the secondary, the more you're going to see some exotic blitzes dialed up.
All right, appreciate you, Crass 4, for chiming in, buddy. Have a good one. Marvin Norman, what's up, Marvin? He's chiming in. He's saying Eli Apple is an upgrade compared to Crawley and P.J. Williams. I'm sure that he'll fit our system well. I think we should put him on press. See how much he can handle one-on-one versus number 2 receivers. Good idea, Marvin. He did pretty good tonight, man. You know, of course, he had the little problem he had with Stephon Diggs, but he handled the right way when he got beat. He tackled the guy, got a pass interference as opposed to giving up a touchdown. I mean, I have to keep saying it because the other guy would have gave up the touchdown, just looked stupid walking off the field with his helmet down. I mean, it's just good to see smart players do smart things. I've seen this over and over again. Lance Kelly chiming in. What's up, Lance? He says, love the Eli Apple pickup. We as well love it, too. It was a very smart value pick, getting a first-round talent for a fourth-round draft pick still in the midst of his rookie contract. Pretty solid move by the New Orleans Saints. Pretty crafty. Jeff Champagne chimes in.
And he a Buckeye. Can't leave that out.
And he a Buckeye. Very good. Jeff Champagne chimes in. He says, going to be hard to tell until we get some reps out of him against Minnesota. He's coming off an ankle injury, which makes me question how much we'll be seeing of him this weekend. I do feel that our defensive schemes fit his play style better than the G-men. If he is the answer to our corner issues, our safeties need to get on the same page as our corners for some of our packages, including zone. We're still giving up big plays in that coverage. Case in point, late Ravens touchdown last week. I agree with Q and DC on the new position of Crawley and Williams since we now have a position corner. I'm excited to see what he has to offer. I'm excited to lessen plays coming off of Ken Crawley and Williams at the corner positions. PJ Williams, by the way. Most of all, I'm excited about the moves the Saints are making for the cost. He has been known to be a disruption in the locker room and getting into it with his teammates. Thoughts? Okay, appreciate you, Jeff, man. Good to hear from you again, friend. As Jeff chime in, thoughts on it. Jeff, DC addressed this in the previous show. Apple showing out in a losing locker room. You won't have that issue here because the familiarity with other players that's in the league that are a calm influence. Michael Thomas, a tireless worker. He's a teammate of him. Marshawn Lattimore has a good mindset. So does Bell here. So these guys, and not to mention, they got an older Buckeye there too in the name of Kurt Coleman, and Ted Ginn Jr. We got older Buckeye, veteran guys on here. So it's a team effort. We got young Buckeyes and old Buckeyes, productive Buckeyes. These guys got going to have a respect factor with Eli Apple. And I don't think Eli Apple's going to be the locker room poison that he was. And I agree with what DC said earlier about him coming from a winning organization to a craptastic organization where they losing all the time, and he being frustrated with that. So here you won't experience that. He steps into it. This team is 5-1. He just helped them with 9 solo tackles in this game. The team is 6-1. You won't experience such things in this one. DC, quickly comment so we can go into our rest of our questions, brother.
I mean, you basically said it, man. And I went over that last week with him, and he's around all his brothers, man. It's going to be like a family atmosphere. You're going to get in a little bickers and fights. So, I mean, everybody does, but it won't be anything serious. They've already done it. They've achieved the national championship with the guys in that locker room. So I think he's going to be willing to fall in line, go along with the structure to try to win the championship, because obviously he wants to win. That's why he was frustrated. That's why he was having problems. And I like that. You're supposed to be mad, and you're supposed to be getting into it if you 1-7. You ain't supposed to be having kumbayas in the locker room.
Exactly. Okay, well said, DC. Thank you for that, brother. Moving on to our next comment. We got a few more we got to speed through here. Next comment is Hemisphere. He's back on the bill. What's up, Hemisphere? Funny when a big play happens against the defense, Crawley is in the middle of the play. Last week, he go block off a route to let the receiver run all the way down the Saints 5-yard line. Chunk plays like that is why we're wanting to see get better, but every game so far they show up. Teams attack weaknesses, and Crawley's a weakness. Now the Saints gave up more picks at 4th and 7th for Eli Apple. Think it's a win-win for Eli and the Saints. Maybe the drama going on in New York will not come down here. Players adapt to the environment they are in, but you know someone's a competitor and a leader. When they can stand up and voice their feelings, the Saints will let him play this week to see how he handles it. If it all goes well, I think we can keep him on the field. That's good thinking by Hemisphere chiming in. Also, next commenter, DRD Major DeWright, chiming in to the show. Good to hear from you, brother. He said, brother, in the beginning, you told us about Crawley. My bad. I'm a believer. Appreciate the comment there, my man. I just calls it as I see.
Big Q was beating up Crawley way in the offseason, man.
Brother, I've been beating him up since last year because I didn't have those blinders on. I see how that man was struggling. He played well last year, but I'm telling you, he had major flaws in his game, and the flaws are showing more because teams see. They put the tape on. They watch the tape. I watched the tape. You have to.
It's like a shark with blood in the water when they see him out there, man.
Listen, man, we know what we're talking about. Look at P.J. Williams. They attacked P.J. Williams in this game. They went at him early.
Yeah, they did.
You see? But why did they go at P.J. Williams and not go after Eli Apple or Marshawn Lattimore? Because they pick it on the weak link. They perceive.
They tried Eli Apple a few times. They weren't very successful.
So they say, let's go to the weakest link.
Yeah, they went to P.J., man.
Yep,
but P.J., at least he made him pay, man. He made him pay. That's one thing Crawley ain't did all year.
No, he been playing them out. He been helping them. DJ Austin chiming in. DJ, what's up, buddy? He says, I think so. He's better and also have size and a little speed better than Crawley, so I think so. But my question is to you, will he start in case of Ken Crawley and P.J. Williams? Why do you think they keep releasing J.T. Barrett, and do you see him on our roster for next year, Bridgewater, Hill, and J.T. Barrett? I don't know what's up with the J.T. Barrett thing, but the more interesting question is every time they release him, why nobody else grab him?
Right.
So that's really a big thing. And J.T. Barrett got a lot of skills, but I think the Saints don't see him as a person that's ready to contribute right now. So if they are fortunate to be able to land and have an open spot for J.T., I think he'll end up there. But that's a very telling thing when you release the guy with no fear that somebody else is going to pick him up because he's such a talent.
Let's just call it what it is, man. J.T. Barrett at this point, he's a practice player. He's a player you want for scout teams. I mean, he has some mobility, so you can use him to prepare for a camp when you want to give Taysom Hill a little bit of a rest. He's a practice player. He's an Ohio State Buckeye, so he gets along with a lot of the guys. He fits in with the culture, and at this point, he's not a real asset yet. So maybe he can turn into that, and they won't keep cutting him.
Yeah, true that. And as far as you said, the roster set there, J.T. Barrett, I think it's foreseeable that he'll probably end up on the practice squad for next season.
We're going to sign him back.
Right, eventually. And this happened before when the Saints signed a veteran offensive lineman last year from the Raiders. They did the same thing to that guy. That guy was on and off the
Khalif Barnes.
Khalif Barnes was on and off the practice squad like
he started this year too. In the preseason, we was doing the same thing with him.
Same thing. So that's what I'm saying. The Saints, that's just something the Saints do. You know, but obviously they like him because they keep bringing him back and they're not using this spot for somebody else. But I like DC said, I agree with that analogy that he's a practice squad player right now. And my three, I still see it as the same. The Saints next year, they're going to redo Teddy. They're going to give a deal to Teddy Bridgewater to keep him here, maybe a 2 or 3 year.
I don't think so, Q. You're talking about a lot of money with Teddy, man.
I still say you don't give up a 3rd-round draft pick for a 1-year rental. That's not what they're going to do. I still think they'll get a contract done with him. That's just my belief.
Mickey Loomis say he's going to let him test free agency. You know, if you're letting a quarterback go on free agency, some team that needs a quarterback, man, they'll be willing to give Teddy Bridgewater $40 million or so. We're not going to pay that for a backup. That's why we can't keep Chase Daniels.
Most GMs do this. That's what they call allowing the market to set your value. And what their value is in their head might be a little less than what the market is. It's a simple process in which the Saints do. But best believe, you don't give up a 3rd-round draft pick for a player who you think could help your team, but then allow him to leave via free agency. That's just not smart. No.
So you don't think a team like Jacksonville or Miami will be willing to give him more money than we would to be a backup?
I don't think they would, because if you look at what Teddy Bridgewater, when he came out early this year, there wasn't a lot of teams beating his door down then to get that. And the Jets did it because they had a rookie quarterback and they wanted to call him very. But really, he was a third quarterback on that roster. He didn't even beat out McCown. So when it comes down to it, no, I don't see the Jacksonville Jaguars offering him a ton of money to be a backup. There's no other teams, I don't think, that offer Teddy Bridgewater starter money right now. And I think Teddy Bridgewater's smart. I think he'll get paid a decent deal to sit behind Drew Brees for another season, then take the reins of the team. When Drew Brees leaves in another year or so, he's going to have all this talent to play with. He's going to have Alvin Kamara there, Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, all this great talent on offense and defense. He'd be crazy to leave that, and I don't think he will.
He might not want to start playing football when he's 30 or 31, man. With Drew Brees did go on record and said he wanted to play till he was 44 or 45.
Drew Brees is going to play for at least another year.
How are you so sure when he said he don't even know?
Because I got the inside baseball, brother. Going on to our next comment. Sean Hughes chimed in. He said he was commenting to Sean Cease. I've been saying we need to get an Apple, and they will have one of the best We will have one of the best secondaries to come. That's from Sean Hughes commenting in a day. He also said that I like his attitude because he wants to win. If nobody else don't like it, then you're a loser. So Treshawn Hughes chimed in. Good comment as he was talking to Sean C. That's everybody chiming on the show. Appreciate y'all for all comment. And remember, the Sports Coma question of the day today, are the Saints the best team in NFC? Of course, you wait a week. They got the Rams coming up in the Superdome, and that'll answer the question, wouldn't it? But anyway, you can still answer the question here.
We'll talk about it before
that. So y'all put it in the comment section. Let us know what you think. That'll do it for the show today on the Sports Coma Podcast 259. Thank y'all for joining us. As always, if you like the show, go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/the PRO Media Network and become a contributor. You can contribute at one time a month, or you can become a contributor that makes a one-time donation, period. That'll, of course, go to empower our platform as we continue to move forward. Join our social media networks. The links are in the description section below. Also, can empower the show by supporting our sponsor. Those links are in the description section below. And from me and DC, we like to say thank you to all our new and established listeners, the commenters, everybody. Thank you guys for listening to the show. From me, DC, and the crew here at the Sports Coma, peace.
Peace.
Get ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fastly becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products, and you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think Newfrog. Newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, that's www.vapordna.com.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
What's up, sports world? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share, and help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.